You're watching This Is The Point here on AM Live. Today we want to turn our focus a bit also on what happened over the weekend. Well, the security of our schools, we want to look at it, and it is shocking us. The shocking report of the rape of a student at Moi Girls Nairobi at the weekend reveals serious security and safety lapses in boarding schools. Matters are not helped by the fact that the how to resolve the glaring loopholes in the security system and overall management. It is difficult to comprehend how a man walked into the school when we are trying to help when the see the schools the incident is a point that all is not well in the schools. Of course, I want to just quickly look at that. Care of this morning. Allow me to introduce to you this morning Dr. James Nyong'o, who is a member of parliament from Seme. Also we have with us Samuel Pugiso, who is a senator from West Pokot. We do have with us as well His Excellency Governor Nyong'o from Tharaka Nithi. Also we do have with us Governor Professor Nyong'o from Kisumu, and we have Senator there from Nyamira. This is Okong'o. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Right, we can begin by looking briefly at what's really happened over the weekend. And I know this is appointed to all the securities that we do have also within the counties. A man walks into a school compound, rapes a girl, and walks away scot-free. And we wonder, since we have had incidents of rape cases before, we've had incidents of arson in schools, reports have come out, recommendations, of course, have been put forth, but it seems we are always slow on the uptake to recommend these things. Maybe we can just briefly comment on that. Let's begin with you, Dr. Nyong'o.
Morning. Basically, there must be some negligence on one part.
Yes.
For that to happen, it is expected that schools will have adequate security, from physical security of just fencing, and two, it is expected that they'll have security personnel.
Yes.
It is also expected that even within the staff, there'll be people in boarding schools who are teachers who are up and about all the time, looking at what is happening in the school. And it's also interesting because in the school, a large population in the school, for something like that to happen, nobody notices, everybody walks away. I think it is not acceptable, and there's definitely some negligence in the part of the school administration. And if not, there may be collusion as well. Some other people within the school system may be part of this, because otherwise it's not conceivable that it should happen, particularly in this school where just 11 months ago, a year ago, there was a fire tragedy, which up to now, as far as I know, we have not exactly known what happened in that fire tragedy. So I think something more needs to be looked at in that school, and generally in the security of schools, particularly boarding schools across the country.
Right. Let's hear from Senator Pugiso.
Well, thank you very much, Dibal, good morning. my take on that is just about exactly what he has said. I think that environment informs the kind of security that should follow protection of our school children. You know, if this traditional way of securing the schools need to change, and people should adopt the modern ways of securing schools, including cameras and so on. especially in the cities. The location of the school also, is very important to see that it's possible for intruders to walk in or lurk around the school area. The other matter which I get from parents complaining is that the way that the administration response to some of these issues is lackluster and appears to be, born out of maybe a lot of the staff having been there for so long. Everything has become just kawaida. And so issues like this, I thought that maybe by now the stakeholders should realize that this school has had problems, and the corrections from the time of the fire to now should have helped to enhance the security of the school. Using the various methods, looking at the buildings, looking at the safety, looking at the fire safeties, and so on. There are a number of issues we cannot understand until we get a report on what really happened. But I thought that would be obviously one of the things they should look at, the situation, and modernize, especially since the fire.
Right. Good morning, Menjuki.
Good morning. Dibal, allow me to echo the sentiments by my colleagues that there was absolute negligence in this particular case. Dibal, Moi Girls is not just any other girls' school located in the rural areas of this country. It's located in a very highly populated area, and especially around Kibera slums. And I'm not saying that we have bad people who live in the slums, but the traffic that we have of people who walk on either side of the school is a kind of traffic you'd want to have security measures so that we do not have intruders into the school.
Yes.
It's a kind of a school we expect to have CCTVs everywhere to be able to know what is happening. Allow me to cite a school in my county called Kireni Secondary School, where the principal from his office is able to know what is happening in every corner of the school, which has reduced even the fire that we used to have in the school. Why wouldn't we have CCTVs even outside the entry of the dorms in Moi Nairobi Girls? Why would we have only about 2 or 3 guards guarding a girls' school in the middle of a situation like that? It means there was serious negligence. And the revelation that this school does not have not just a perimeter wall, but one that is secured with probably electric fence, then it's a sheer negligence. And it's not really a very low-cost school that we'd say that parents pay very little, even though I know fees is normally standardized. This school has been on for some time,
yes.
And I know it was one of those schools you'd say it was one of the high-cost schools as per se. Then we expect them to have structures that can secure our girls. It's not just a secondary school, it's a girls' school, which is supposed to be more sensitive than even the boys. I'm not demeaning the fact that we also need to secure boys, but our girls are more prone. And looking at the environment, this time let's not have a talk around that things will happen. Changing the administration may not be enough. It is important to look at root cause of the problem so that we don't end up treating just the symptoms and leave the real cause. So this thing will happen again and again and again. That's my take.
Okay, and this comes in light of also what we saw earlier this year, where students also at Jamhuri High School were involved in a spat and people were stabbed, blood was shed. But it goes to show also the Claire Omolo report that was recommended. We remember when we had ASONs around the country and the Cabinet Secretary had to come up with a task force, and we are now in 2018. Since that particular task force came up with recommendations, and one of which was that we should be having vetted security guards who have, basic security skills, and who are also beyond maybe the retirement age, so to speak. But up to now, that Claire Omolo report, no one has actually implemented the recommendations that have been put forth. We just see that report is accumulating dust, just like any other report that we've come up with in this country. Maybe we can hear from you, Professor.
I think, Aina, you're right. It's very sad. We must express our sorrow to the parents and the students over this incident. But you're very right. One of the things that should be done really is to have a policy from the Ministry of Education to standardize the number of students that should be kept in one dormitory. I mean, you have all kinds of varieties of population in dormitories. Some are double deckers and triple deckers, so you have a lot of students in a very small space, which is also dangerous in case of a fire. But the other one is also to have a regulation or a policy regarding security in these dormitories. Usually when you have a group of dormitories, or maybe A, B, C, they are connected with a corridor or something, and you have a matron looking after them. So yes, the matron is actually resident there in the dormitories, so that she can take care of students at night. But thirdly, I concur with what the governor says, that surely in a school like Moi Girls, there should be better security arrangements. But I think that this should apply to all schools, boarding schools. Apart from a perimeter wall or much more better fencing with the electric fencing, there should be guards who are qualified. And I don't think that a school should hire any guard to take care of a school when it's a boarding school. I think they should be certified. They could come from certified security firms so that they know what to do to ensure that security is maintained for the girls and boys who board in these schools. But finally, when things like these happen, then the police come in to do investigations. It's quite often very sad that the investigations go on and in the end you don't find any culprit being caught or being taken to court. And if they're taken to court, being convicted, because sometimes even the evidence is fudged to the extent that people go free, so that possible offenders don't think that serious consequences will follow when they undertake such terrible acts. So I think that apart from the report that was written, we should call upon the Ministry of Education to take quick steps to stop this. Apart from rapes, there's the question of fire. In my own county, recently, we had fires in about 3 or 4 schools, all within 1 week, which means that it is not really accidental. It must be associated with some things happening in those schools, or some mischief that are planned by students at a certain time. And if fires occur in 4 different schools within a period of a week, I think it is important that the Ministry of Education does a thorough investigation to find out why this occurs. And finally, apart from what shocked me in my own county, 4 schools having fires in a period of a week or so, even nationally, we have witnessed in the past a period of fires and whatnot, vandalism, whatnot in the schools. So there must be something that is in that report that was written that should tell us what to do so that we take measures against these things.
Right, and it really scoped out a lot of issues, just not about the security aspect, but also cults within schools that was captured. There's the issue of devil worship, and I think also we can hack back to Moi's era as well, where there was a commission on...
That's one thing.
Yes.
I have a concrete experience. I don't want to mention the school, but it was about people that was paying school fees for there, who was actually expelled for devil worship. And there was evidence. For example, he produced a fork, and these guys had twisted the fork in such a way it now was a sign of the devil. And this was concrete evidence that devil worshipping is going on in the schools. I'm shocked really that devil worship can go in the school. I don't even know what devil worship is, but at least I saw at that point that the fork symbolizes devil worship. Now, these are terrible things because it doesn't just come from the students, it must come from some source. The students can't just dream up devil worshipping overnight. Either they are seeing videos or whatnot, or there's some cult around which is trying to spread devil worship. So I hope that report went, I haven't seen it myself, but I hope that it went deep into this issue of devil worship and how to eradicate it in schools.
One of the concerns also that have been raised is the issue of funding. Because yes, we have all these measures that is recommended by the report, but now when it comes to implementation, financial constraints also can be a tripping wire. And another aspect also is the fact that, let's just deal with that before I remember the other aspect which is eluding me.
Yeah, I think Dubal,
yes, before I've remembered. The other aspect is the issue of introducing the day school wings. You know, in light of what really happened, so many national schools, we had the provincial schools also being, you know, upgraded to national schools, and also because of issues of numbers that we have currently, we have so many national schools also introducing the day wing. Could that also, they've said that also is posing a challenge in terms of security as well, and I think also Moi Girls is one of them. We have State House Girls and other schools that they introduced the day wing as well. Maybe you could also just wrap our thoughts around that as well.
Yeah, I think first, Debal, the incidence is a big, you know, it's a big shame to the country. You know, when you look at the circumstances, people walk into a cubicle, we have 4 girls, they rape the girls, and nothing happens from midnight till early morning.
Yes.
I mean, to me, I know that the way we organize our girls' schools is that the security is more sensitive than for boys' schools. And in most schools, I think every dormitory block has a matron, you know, who stays with the girls, because there's always this consciousness that the security of the girls is always at risk. But, you know, what I saw at this girls' school is that the rape incidents took place. They tried to seek for assistance from the matron, no response. The school principal, no response. In our days, we used to have a teacher on duty. You see, no response till early morning. The discovery was done, was being discovered early morning at 5 a.m. I think that is a big indictment on the school management. And I think this is one case where we should invoke the penal code. You know, we have an offense called negligence. You can't allow girls to be exposed to this kind of risk and then just say we have closed the school, we are doing investigations. And even what is worrying, the reports we are getting from the media is that it is possible that a teacher, a male teacher in the school,
yes,
was involved. So I think it paints a picture of a school that does not pay serious attention to the security of girls. And I think this is a time that we need to see serious action being taken, 1, by the ministry itself, and 2, by the investigating agencies in this country. But going back to the issue of budget, really, I don't think, what is the salary of a watchman in a secondary school? I don't think a school can, you know, come up with excuses and say we don't have enough budget to employ guards who can take care of girls. I'm sure Moi Girls does not have maybe more than 6 blocks, dormitory blocks in that school, and we can have an allocation of a security guard for each dormitory. So this is really a wake-up call to the people we have placed, we have entrusted with the safety of our girls, that they need to be conscious. If you have a matron you have employed in your girls' school, she must be aware that she is having a huge responsibility of taking care of girls who are domiciled in those schools. And I think the issue of boarding and day schools, I think it will take a long time for us to do away with boarding schools. I think what we need to do is to secure the safety of our girl child and even the boy child in our boarding schools. But I really hope that some serious action will be taken. And if indeed, and I hope that's not the case, if indeed a teacher was involved, then I think that is a more even serious issue. Yes.
Right.